Yo, what's up? My name is Patrouski, and I consider myself to be a little bit of a Pokemon MMO expert. I have a little over 30,000 hours of experience in MMOs and a little over 7,000 hours of experience playing Pokemon MMOs, most of them being on the MMO you see here, PokeMMO. Now, I've been playing MMOs for around 15 years, and I've been playing Pokemon MMOs for around 10 years. And if you've been in this space, one of the most common questions you've ever seen if you've ever picked up a Pokemon game or been in the MMO scene is, will Nintendo ever make a Pokemon MMO, and why don't they? Why haven't they already done this? And I think that hopefully today I can give a little bit of a perspective to that usually isn't brought into the conversation. There are some common talking points that are usually brought up, but I'm hoping to offer something new today, and I hope you guys can walk away with some newfound information or maybe a different perspective. Now, I do want to quickly clarify that this is just one man's conjecture, one man's thoughts and opinions, so I don't necessarily know the reason why Nintendo hasn't made a Pokemon MMO, just as everyone else doesn't know, so take that with a grain of salt and feel free to agree or disagree with anything I say today. I do just hope that my content is enjoyable enough that you find yourself enjoying your time spent well here, and if you do, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more like this one. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into my main talking point, the main thing that I think most people miss when talking about Pokemon MMOs. It's something that might not pop into your mind immediately when you think about Pokemon, but when you think about MMOs, everybody understands this. I'm going to be talking about economy. It is often the case in any MMO where if the economy dies, the game dies alongside it. Economy and Pokeyen value or gold value in any sort of other MMO is absolutely inherently intrinsically valued to the game. Usually, most of the game mechanics revolve around it, whether it's grinding for new armor or gear, or getting new Pokemon, for example, or getting new items to be able to do different, more difficult adventures. The most difficult part of balancing any Pokemon MMO, and the reason why most Pokemon MMOs fail from what I've seen from my 10 years of experience, is the improper balance of the PokeMMO economy. And what I mean by this is that you actually have to change the core mechanics of Pokemon to adhere to this. It is simply not possible from what I've seen to keep the core mechanics and also maintain a healthy economy. And what I'm referring to in this is specifically good IV Pokemon. Good IV Pokemon in the traditional sense of normal Pokemon can be reproduced and rebred over and over again. Everything economic in Pokemon MMOs actually comes back to the breeding system, funnily enough. If Nintendo wanted to make a successful Pokemon MMO, they would have to fundamentally change the way that breeding works in Pokemon. And I don't think they're willing to do that, but let me explain why. If you are able to infinitely breed Pokemon in a Pokemon MMO, it will only permanently devalue and devalue good IV Pokemon the longer those servers are online. Now, PokeMMO is one of the only Pokemon MMOs to acknowledge this, realize this, and implement a very strong change. Within PokeMMO, breeding two Pokemon together consumes them and deletes them from the game entirely. You consume two Pokemon to create one better Pokemon. And I do believe that this necessarily has to be the case for any sort of Pokemon MMO to function. You have to have some sort of reason to sink good IV or good statted Pokemon out of the game. Now, if you don't know what a sink is in MMOs, a sink is something that is usually sucking or draining something, similar to a kitchen sink or somewhat sort of the sink, out of the game. The reason why you need to do this is because of inflation. Without doing this with Pokemon, you essentially get good IV inflation, very similar to Pokeyen or gold inflation or even US dollar inflation. Any resource or any currency can become inflated in any economy. But it all comes down to basic supply and demand. If good IV Pokemon were never removed from the game, the supply of good IV Pokemon would continuously infinitely raise, while the demand could only go down unless you were getting enough new players into the game to outpace people breeding eggs, but that's not really possible. At that pace, you would need thousands of new players every hour who also stick to the game and get to the end game and even need those good IV Pokemon. Now, I'm sure to the average Pokemon player, the idea of consuming Pokemon is pretty harsh. Pokemon is a game all about developing those connections and getting a deep and inner bond with those creatures usually. This would be akin to naming your Pokemon during a Nuzlocke just to see them fade away. Most people don't like that concept. Most people don't want to see their loved ones fade away into existence to create a stronger loved one. But once again, I do think that is how it needs to be. Now, thankfully, in a game like PokeMMO, you are able to control the breed a bit more, and there are positives and negatives to it. You're not just putting in 2 good IV Pokemon and getting a bad IV Pokemon. You're usually putting in 2 Pokemon together and spending some Pokeyen on some items that help increase the chances of that breed. And so you're spending Pokeyen and Pokemon, you're getting 2 syncs at once to create a better product that people can use for PvP or PvM purposes. Hopefully I've explained everything adequately and given you guys the reasons why this sort of function has to be implemented into a Pokemon MMO, and my final reasons why I think Nintendo will never create a Pokemon MMO is because they'd have to make this change or many changes like it, which are very against the spirit of Pokemon to them to make it function. MMOs are very difficult to manage and even more difficult to upkeep. This is also just the mechanical side of it. Pokemon is not really implemented in a way where it would function in an MMO system. Now, there's plenty of other reasons or arguments that go into why Nintendo might not want to make a Pokemon MMO, such as the financial ones, it not being really worth it for them. The costs to upkeep an MMO are pretty insane, versus if they just comfortably make a new Pokemon game every couple years, they'll do fantastically. But I do think there is more room for that, where I think if they were trying to maximize profits, free-to-play MMO markets, having that microtransactions do, consistently and historically make loads of cash. So I don't know if I truly buy into that, but I could also see it being the stubbornness of Nintendo. They've historically kind of gone their own way and not really listened to what's kind of hype and what's big in the general gaming community, and they sort of stick to their own guns, which you kind of have to give them respect for because it's tended to work over the years. They do make great original products, even if sometimes they're a little off the mark. Or could have just been objectively better if they maybe listened to the general overall audience, such as the GameCube disc. Now that is everything that I had to talk about today. If you guys have any questions, make sure to let me know in the comments down below, and I hope this video was worth your time and enjoyable. And if it was, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe for more content like it. My Twitch is also linked down below. I upload 1 video about PokeMMO every single day, as well as streaming Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. EST. My Discord is also linked down below, and if you want to go above and beyond and support the channel financially, there are options down below. I do truly recommend you checking out PokeMMO if you want a Pokemon MMO to play. In my humble opinion, it is by far the best Pokemon MMO, and even I would go as far as saying it's the best Pokemon game. I'm not sponsored by them in absolutely any way to say that. I just genuinely have a connection with this game, and I think it's truly good even past my biased. But that is it for me today. Hopefully you guys had a great time. I'll see you later. Peace. Yo, what's up? My name's Patrouski, and if you're watching this, that means you watched until the very end of the video, and I want to say thank you so much for that. Hopefully, it was a positive asset on your day. And I want to say thank you to everyone's name who is listed here. These guys go above and beyond and are positive assets on my day and allow me to do what I do, trying to make the best Pokemon content every day. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day. Peace.